Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into something I think pretty much everyone has done, cramming.
Oh, yeah. That last-minute panic study session.
Exactly. And you get that feeling, right? That incredible rush where you think, okay, I know this. Like just hours before a test or maybe a big presentation.
It feels like every single fact is just there, ready to go.
Super convincing. But, well, what if that feeling, that sense of really knowing it, is actually kind of an illusion, especially for, remembering it later?
That's the core idea we're exploring.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're drawing on a source called The Illusion of Cramming, Mastering Memory for Retention to figure this out.
What's fascinating here, and the source points this out really clearly, is why it feels so effective right after you do it.
Right. It's not just imagination.
No, not at all. That information is fully present. It's sitting right there in what psychologists call your conscious working memory.
Okay, working memory, like RAM in a computer.
Sort of, yeah. Think of it like active tabs open on your browser, or maybe a whiteboard where you've just written things down. It's active. It's right there. Short-term storage.
So it's easy to access immediately.
Exactly. And that ease, that feeling of, oh, yeah, I've got this, that's what tricks us. It feels effortless. But that effortlessness is actually a sign it's just temporary, not really locked in.
So it's deceptively present. Here's where it gets really interesting then. The source hammers this home. That working memory, that short-term bit. It has basically nothing to do with the long-term memory we need to, say, recall the same stuff a few days later.
Absolutely critical distinction. We mistake that immediate availability for actual durable learning.
And that's the trap we fall into when we're rushing.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it explains why that feeling fades so fast. Working memory is inherently temporary.
How fast are we talking?
Well, the source says the information already starts disappearing after just a few seconds or minutes. It's incredibly quick.
Wow, seconds or minutes.
Yeah. And then it says after a few days, the effect becomes enormous, meaning, well, it's pretty much gone.
Gone. Completely.
Essentially, yes. Unless you retest your knowledge, it just evaporates if you don't actively try to pull it back up.
Okay, so that explains why the stuff I crammed for that history test felt like a vague dream 2 days later.
Precisely. You didn't do the work to make it stick long term.
No wonder those all-nighters feel so, I don't know, pointless afterwards.
Yeah.
So this raises an important question then. It just reading notes over and over, cramming, only feeds this temporary working memory. How do we get information into that durable long-term memory, the place we actually need it?
This is the key takeaway from the source, and it's actually quite straightforward. It says, it is essential to study the material, then test yourself, rather than spend all your time studying.
Test yourself, not just reread.
Exactly. It's about active engagement, not passive reading. The act of trying to remember something, retrieval practice, that's what builds the connection.
Even if you kind of struggle to remember it.
Especially then. That struggle, that mental effort, is what strengthens the pathway to that information in your long-term storage. You're forcing your brain to work, to find it.
So you're not just putting info in, you're practicing pulling it out.
That's the perfect way to put it. That's what builds real retention.
Okay. So what does this all mean for you listening right now, how you tackle learning something new?
Well, the big thing is recognizing that difference, right? Between the temporary feeling from working memory and what you need for lasting knowledge.
Which comes from testing yourself.
Right. Active retrieval.
So maybe next time you need to learn something, could be for work, could be for a course, or just, learning for fun. Think about how you're doing it.
Are you just highlighting and rereading, hoping it sticks? Or are you actively trying to pull that information out of your head?
What's one small change you could make based on this? Maybe instead of just reading that chapter again.
You could try explaining the key concepts out loud without looking at your notes. Or do a quick self-quiz.
Yeah, anything that forces you to retrieve it rather than just passively review it, moving from input to active retrieval.
That's the shift. Beyond the illusion of knowing.
Definitely something to chew on.